You are listening to Studio Maguyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What is going down? It is your boy Studio Maguyver, and you are listening to Studio Maguyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. What's up, guys? It's been a little while since you've heard from me. There wasn't a podcast last week. I want to start off and say I apologize for that. There was just a lot of things going on. I didn't really have any content because I was tied up in some other things. Also, man, I've been pretty sick these last few days, man. Since I want to say late Tuesday, early Wednesday, man. Pretty much been in the bed. Stomach issues, man. I have a very, very weak stomach. If my stomach could have a name, I would call him Eric Bonet, because he's sensitive than a motherfucker. I'm just keeping it real. It's very sensitive, man. I mean, I eat the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it could be a wrap for me. That easy. Don't even know what I ate, but whatever it was, didn't agree, and my stomach swole up like I was, 7 months pregnant, and I'm not even at 100% right now as of this podcast, so I might be about 75% right now. But it is what it is. And that's just how it goes sometimes, man. But on another note, I've got a few things to discuss. A little bit of Evo 2019 lineup to talk about. A little bit of some Nintendo stuff here and there. A little bit about Anthem. Apparently it's been doing some things to some consoles. So yeah, we're going to get into that. And, man, we're going to also talk about, what I've been playing lately. I've been kind of on bed rest and kind of just chilling. But the time that I do get a chance to come and play, some games, I have had a chance to play a little something. There was a nice little sale last week on a game that, I'm glad that I had a chance to play it. I'm still playing right now, and it's just kind of opened my eyes up to this franchise again, and made me wonder, like, what the hell was I doing? What was I doing? What have I been up to? Why haven't I been keeping up with this franchise? And man, it's really becoming one of my favorite franchises. In retrospect, now that I sit there and think about it, and I'll get into that as well. But I guess let's talk a little bit about some news. We can start off with that. God of War 5, man, Whispers in the Streets, is that God of War 5 is currently being worked on. And there is a discrepancy in how it's being worked on. And what I mean when I say that is, what system is it going to be coming out for? Right now, I guess the studio is hoping to get it on, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox Ones, and just Sony. I keep forgetting that, Sony has a lot of exclusive games, and this is one of those. But they were, I guess, hoping to do it on the PS4 because the code, for the most part, is pretty much done. But I guess Sony wants them to take it to the next, console. And the developers are kind of, antsy about that because, it was a lot of work, just creating this game. It took them quite a while to make this title. So it's probably going to be the same for the next one. So if that's the case, guys, we probably won't see a God of War game, a sequel to this one here for years to come. I'm guessing maybe like 2023, 2024, or some shit like that. I mean, just being honest, being realistic about it. That's what it's looking like. I hope it doesn't end up like that, but like I said, sometimes it is what it is in the gaming world, and that's the process now with these AAA games, man. They take time, and push come to shove, I would gladly take a game that has been worked on to the fullest, with nothing held back, and get a complete game like God of War, this past God of War was, which is a 10 out of 10 and a straight bona fide classic. So if that's what it takes to create another one of these titles, by all means, man, take your fucking time, get it right. There's no rush. When we get the game, just make it, just put it in the same, realm as this past God of War. And I think things will be just fine. The only thing about that is just, the waiting. But like all gamers probably know, there's always something to stumble upon, or pick up and play, whether it be your backlog, whether it be just something that, you haven't had a chance to play yet, to pass the time by until the next title comes out. And sometimes those are some of the best moments, in my opinion, because that's when you stumble upon games that you were interested in, but you didn't you didn't have that concrete, feel about a game. Like some games you just know, like, okay, I'm pre-ordering this, or this is already paid for, because you just know in your heart that it's just going to be that game. And 9 times out of 10, when you get those type of games, they pretty much never disappoint. There are rare occurrences when that happens, but for the most part, you're pretty safe on that. And then for the rest of these games where, it looks cool, it looks like something I would definitely play. But when you're left with choices, and you're left with a certain set amount of dollars, you have to make, smarter decisions. So you're pretty much going to try to pick the ones that you want to play the most, on that totem pole. And then you work down that ladder. And then sometimes you never get to the end of the ladder. And the beauty of that is that later on, maybe a year or two later, you come back around and you see that same game for like 10, 15, 20 bucks, and you pick it up then, and boom, you know what I mean? The rest is history. And I'll get into that here shortly. Yeah, God of War, that's a little news I thought I'd share with you guys, because I'm a big fan of that game. Love that game. It was my game of the year for 2018. And it's just a beautiful masterpiece of a game. The lore, everything about that game was just superb, man. So looking forward to the next one, and can't wait. Want to talk a little bit about Google, man. Like, Google has something up their sleeves, guys. If you've been listening to this podcast, and in the past I've talked about Google, and how Google plans on putting their hat in the ring as far as, the console war is concerned for the next gen. So when we're talking about PlayStation 5, we're talking about, the next Xbox. I forgot the name, of Scorpio, I want to say it's going to be called. But those systems in the future, Google is trying to make a play, and they want to compete. And, Google has more money than God. So I'm pretty sure if they, do it right, they can probably make some noise. But they actually have an announcement coming up. They claim that they have an announcement March 19th. They're going to announce something. I guess what they've been planning. Hopefully we get an idea of the system that they're working on. Is it going to be, a modern day console like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, where, you use hardware with it, like discs and all those things? Or there's going to be something like, I don't know, a box where you basically stream the games, or you just download only, I'm anxious to see how this is going to work. Even, what developers they're working with, if any. Anybody we're familiar with, any AAA, companies, indie companies, what's going on with that. So hopefully we learn some things on the 19th, and I can address some of those things with you guys when that becomes apparent. But I'm anxious. I want to know what's going on, man, because, if they make some of the right moves, man, I definitely would make a move and pick up a Google console. That would definitely be one that I might consider doing. PlayStation all day, though. I mean, no matter what, PlayStation 5, that's the squad. That is the team. Also Nintendo, I have a Switch. Nintendo's doing some big things. They're making a lot of moves now. Finally, they're coming around, and titles are starting to really fall from the sky. So yeah, man. I mean, it's a great time to be a gamer. I'll let you guys know what's going on with Google when that time comes. I want to talk a little bit about the Evo lineup, man. There's some games that are going to be shown in the Evo 2019, and a couple of games I'm really excited for. A lot of you guys know a couple of those games. I mean, of course, you already know Dragon Ball Fighters is going to be in the lineup. You also are going to have Mortal Kombat 11, which is another game I cannot wait to play. Anxious to see how that transpires. We also have Street Fighter 5. Yeah, man, whatever. Capcom, I don't even want to talk about that. I mean, to be fair, Resident Evil 2 remake, hey, beautiful game. But when it comes to some titles, they definitely dropped the soap. But anyway, they're going to be on the lineup as well. Tekken 7 is also going to be there. Soul Calibur 6 is going to be there. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle is going to be there. Smash Brothers Ultimate is another game that's going to be there. And a game called Under Night in Birth. I have never heard of this game. Don't know too much about it. Really don't know anything about it. I'll dig a little bit deeper and see what I can come up with. But that's another game making it on the roster. And, last but not least is Samurai Showdown. The new and improved Samurai Showdown, which is slated for this summer, sometime around this summer, which is a game I cannot wait to play. That's probably my most anticipated fighting game, even over Mortal Kombat 11. And I have always been a big fan of SNK and, a lot of the games, the King of Fighters series and, Guru, Mark of the Wolves, however you want to pronounce it. One of my favorite 2D fighting games. But Samurai Shodown was also like one of my top favorite games. Even back in the day, as a kid going to the arcades, playing it. I always loved the series. And now, we basically get a modern day version of it. It looks more like a Street Fighter 4 graphical style. It has to it, but of course it definitely comes with the gore and the blood and, the combos look nasty from what we've seen. Haven't seen a lot. There's not a lot on the game right now, but I can tell by watching what I saw that I'm going to enjoy this game. I'm definitely going to enjoy this game. And it's already been placed in the lineup for Evo 2019, which is saying something. That's saying something about this game. Anxious to see how the game plays, the mechanics, how it differs from the older games, and how the combo systems and stuff like that work. I mean, I'm really, I can't wait. I want to play this one bad. So, man, the Evo lineup looks pretty good. I mean, Dragon Ball Fighters, of course, you can't go wrong with that. There's been whispers in the streets though, about fighters as far as, the registration and the drop off. I guess not as many people are registering to play this game at this Evo for some reason. Maybe that'll pick up later. I don't know. But that tends to happen sometimes when games come out and, they've been strong for a while. They'll dip. You can't maintain that height forever. Sometimes you're going to develop, peaks and valleys and things like that. And that's probably what we're looking at right here. I think the franchise is way too popular, forever stay down in that level or on that realm. So we should definitely see these guys pick back up, when Evo kicks off. So I just thought I'd add that little tidbit in there. Let's talk about Anthem. I mean, what's been going on with Anthem right now? I know I said I was going to be done with it. I know that, I said I was not going to talk about Anthem unless something came up, which was, worthy of talking about. And I think this kind of qualifies for that, man. And especially if it has anything to do with crashing your consoles. And apparently that's what's been going on with this update. The latest update supposedly, it's got people's, systems crashing. I mean, straight up, not just the game crashing, but the actual the whole fucking system crashing, shutting down. Some people reported that it shut it down and it has not, it basically has killed, the box. It's killed the PlayStation or it's killed the Xbox. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that, but it brings me back to this, and I'll always say it and I'll always come back around to it, man. It brings me back to this. That is why I wait for online games. a lot of the time, most of the time, because this is what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? You're dealing with these kinks, these bugs, and it kind of, it's very sad to me because these are AAA companies. These are AAA companies who are, who make millions and sometimes billions of dollars a year. And, they cannot get a handle on this. And I don't understand why that is. They put games out prematurely a lot of the time. I mean, let's keep it real. This game was not fucking ready when it came out. Okay. And what's so crazy about it is that I'm probably sure I can probably almost bet the house on this, that the actual developers weren't ready. And if they had a choice, they wouldn't put it out right now. But their publishers and their, the people who make their decisions for them, for money, they're looking at money. All they see is money. And they're saying, no, push play. It's going out. We'll come out with the updates. We'll work on that stuff as we go. We need to sell these games and push these games out. And that is the, society we live in. Sad to say, for a lot of us gamers out here. I mean, that's what we have to deal with, especially if you enjoy those multiplayer online games. If you enjoy these type of games, you like playing a lot of these games, these are the things you deal with. You deal with crashes, you deal with down for maintenance issues, you're dealing with, all this boo-boo that you shouldn't have to deal with, especially coming from a AAA developer or, somebody who's got millions and millions of dollars invested in this stuff. They should have all this stuff ready to go. But as you can see right now, it's not, and you're dealing with these type of things. And that probably is going to be the sad realization that a lot of people, a reason why people like me won't play Anthem. Somebody who was very hyped for this game. I mean, I was singing its praises, months before the game came out. I was so excited. I remember episodes talking about this game, previous episodes in the past. And, finally when it's done, or supposedly done, it's not. And then you're dealing with all the shit that comes with it. And that's the part that I just can't stand and understand. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand what is going on. And I probably never will, man. These practices are just getting ridiculous. And until somebody does something to shut it down or change it, I mean, it's not going to change. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes. And bottom line is, if I get around to it, it'll probably be, 6 months from now, when the game is operating like it should have operated, day one. And then by then, most people would probably have moved on from it. And I could probably not even play it. I mean, I might come to the point where then, 6 months from now, there might be something else out that I'm into, and I have there's no room, no time to go back to Anthem. You know what I mean? Unless you're selling it for like 15, 20 bucks, and then maybe then. But that's when you benefit from that. You just stay patient and you wait and you sit on it and you let time go by and you let the price go down, because it will go down. The price is going to drop, and it's going to go down, because this is a mockery, and you're going to see, but the price will drop and then the problems will be fixed. And then, I'll pick it up and play it. That's pretty much how I do with the online games, unless it's just something that just, it's just the creme de la creme. You can't stop playing it. People are already getting tired of Apex Legends. I mean, I've already had friends tell me that, they're burnt out on that. And you have a lot of developers out here talking about, the single player games are dying. The single player games, are done. That experience is over with. And they're saying that because they're probably being paid to say that, and they're probably trying to sell, an online game. Because let's keep it real with each other. I mean, single player games are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. They're the ones making, most of the money, as far as, well, those are the games that are making the most impressions on people. I'll say that. I'm not going to say make the most money, because, a lot of these online games, they make a lot of money on, like I said, these fucking microtransactions and things of that nature. But now we're approaching a time where people are starting to really open their eyes and understand like what's really going on now. And they're becoming woke. And now it's starting to backfire on some of these developers now. And people are, like I said, the YouTubers and the press and everybody's putting shit out there now, and it's hurting them. And now it's exposing them. And now, they're kind of scrambling, a lot of these companies. So That's a good thing. And hopefully that keeps going and that keeps happening. And either one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to fold up like a lawn chair and crash and burn, or it's going to force them to make better online games. Either one of those two would be cool with me. I don't give a fuck which one they choose, but one of them has to happen. So that's just my stance on that. But let's take the Division for instance. I played the Division, the open beta. I had a chance to jump into that, play that with some friends. I still didn't get to do everything I wanted to, but from the Division 1 up into the Division 2, they actually, made a lot of worthy changes. They did some things that were commendable, that I liked. They added some things that I liked. And, I think the Division 2 is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a game, really the first online player game that I, see myself playing. I mean, in quite some time. Yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I'm not going to get a chance to play it day one because ran into some fucking issues that cost me about $425, this last couple of weeks. And I had to pay that. It was one of those things where if you didn't pay it, you were fucking yourself. And, I had to pay it. Registration, I had to pay. And to get my registration, there was some bullshit that was going on with my toe tags or something. I guess I owed some money for back pay for the toe tags or something, and I couldn't get my registration without that. And to do that, I had to pay $300 and something, and then I had to pay for my registration. It was all kind of crazy shit, but I had to do it, and it set me back, almost $500. And that was my gaming money. I actually had a couple titles that I was going to pick up. One being the Division, and the other one being Devil May Cry. But I won't be playing any of those right now anytime soon unless I'm renting it from a Redbox. And hopefully, I can rent one from the Redbox. If I don't, I'm not really going to be that hurt. And I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop on Division 2 when it does come out, which is in a week from now. So when that comes out, I want to see how the servers are acting. I got a lot of my close friends will have the game, and I'll be watching them closely. With the title and seeing how everything transpires. For me, for the most part, it played pretty well, man. There was really no hiccups, so I didn't experience too many crashes or anything like that. I think it was one incident, and that was it. Everything else, it pretty much ran smooth like butter. Only thing is, it's an open beta, so a lot of things were kind of, restricted as far as, mods and things like that. I've actually found my favorite gun in the first Division, which is a converted SMG9. And but the only thing is, it couldn't find a clip. It's worthless, in my opinion, without that extended clip. You got 30 rounds in that. You got about a second and a half maybe to spray that, and then it's a wrap. With that extended clip, though, that's what makes that gun so deadly. That's what makes the SMG so deadly, and also rate of fire too. But didn't get a chance to really spec into that like I wanted to, but it was still good nevertheless. It brought back old memories. So yeah, man, I mean, I'm gonna wait on that and see how that transpires before I pick it up. And worst case scenario, when I get it a little bit later, maybe an update or two might have been there, and I can kind of just jump in and then piggyback on a couple of my boys and level up really fast, kind of like how we did with the Division 1 when new players came, or some other friends got the game later, and then we just pretty much did that. So either way, it'll work itself out. And then, which brings me to this point, like what I've been playing recently, what I've been playing as of late. There was a sale recently, this past week, and they had fucking Far Cry 5 for $15 for a limited time. And the last Far Cry game I played was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and before that it was Far Cry 3. Really had a great experience with Far Cry 3. It was one of the only other games, first person games, that I really took a liking to and really really was impressed with, besides really since the BioShock series. BioShock, it was responsible for me just getting into first person games, because I was never really a big first person game player. There's a few games like Borderlands that I like, but I mean, I I basically give all that credit to BioShock because BioShock was the first one that I actually played and actually liked and loved. Actually, I love the BioShock series. One of my favorite series of all time in the gaming world. But now I have to kind of start taking a look at Far Cry because I remember when Far Cry 5 first came out and everybody was talking about how good it was, and I never even played 4. So now I'm like, since I played 5, it's definitely opened my eyes up. I'm currently playing that still right now, enjoying the fuck out of myself. I've lost so many hours of my life playing that game. And it's games like that that make you realize that, I'm not hurting. There's other games that are coming out. Yeah. If you don't get to play them right now, cool. There's so many other things out there that you can play. I mean, there's a handful of games that I still haven't played that I could list on my hand right now that I could go probably find for $15, $20, $30, at the most, and sink hours and hours into those. That's the beautiful thing about it. Just add into that backlog. Still working on stuff. I still got so many games to play. So I'm not really sweating it. If you're not really worried about playing it right when it comes out, then, don't worry about it. Get to it when you get to it. You know what I mean? And then by then, it'll be cheaper. And games are definitely going cheaper and cheaper now, earlier and earlier. You know what I mean? If they don't, there's a lot of games now, if they don't meet a certain amount within a certain date, and I'm talking about maybe 2 months, sometimes as early as that, prices will fall. It will drop $10, $20, you know what I mean? And sometimes 30. So, you can pick it up for a lot cheaper and, you still get the enjoyment out of it. And that's what I'm doing now. I mean, this is the best $15 I spent in a long time. Definitely worth the actual $60 price point, of the game. And then now I really want to play New Dawn, Far Cry New Dawn. After learning a little bit about the story in Far Cry 5, now I have to play New Dawn. Like I have to add that to the library. And, I have to get 4 now too. I looked up 4 and 4 is like going for around $20. I should be able to, I need to play that as well. That was a cross-platform game. That one was on the PS3 and the 4. So I definitely want to play that one. And I didn't even know that they had 3, which is called the Classic Edition, available. You can actually find that, and that's out there. So I need to go pick up all of these games because that's when I felt, started playing from 3 on. And then my favorite one to this day, and still to this day, is Blood Dragon. Blood Dragon is the shit. If you haven't played Blood Dragon, it might be a little hard for you to get your hands on it if you don't have a PC or if you don't have a PlayStation 3. I don't know if they have it on the Xbox One or not. I don't know how their Play Store is or how it works, but I have it on the PlayStation 3. And it was a DLC only game, so there was no physical copy, which I wish they would re-release. That would be dope. There's a lot of references of Blood Dragon in Far Cry 5 and supposedly in Far Cry New Dawn. When I found out that they had the skin of the main protagonist from Far Cry Blood Dragon in New Dawn, I was like, oh, I'm sold. I got to play that now. So yeah, man, I'm back in the Far Cry series. I'm definitely in love with it all over again. Forgot how awesome it was, and 5 made me realize that. And I'm having so much fun with that game, and I'm gonna go back and play Blood Dragon again. I'm definitely gonna go back to that, probably after Far Cry 3. So I mean, love the series, man. Matter of fact, the music that you are listening to, the intro music and the outro music, or if some of you guys have even went to check out some of my YouTube stuff, a lot of that music was inspired from Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That soundtrack is amazing. And I say, it's probably one of my favorite all-time video game soundtracks. And I'm not bullshitting. I promise. There's a lot of dope ones. But this one here is one that is just so inspirational. It was so just 80s. It was like 80s VHS, summers at your grandparents' house, late night, staying up with your brothers and sisters or whatever, your cousins or whatever, staying up late drinking, fucking soda and eating junk food, watching these B movies, early into the morning, in those summers. When that music would play, you know what I mean? It's just so nostalgic. It was just It's great memories, man. Great memories, and it just took me to a place. And then the game is themed around that. You're a fucking bionic commando, you're half cyborg or whatever. It's crazy. The effort they put into this game, this DLC, it was just amazing. So much love, and it's the smallest Far Cry game out. It's like, you can probably finish it in anywhere from 10 to 15 hours. It'll probably the whole thing. You could probably complete it all. For what it was, it was done perfectly. It was done. It was a masterpiece in my eyes, a classic Far Cry game, with the engine and whatnot. And it's my favorite. And I don't think anything is going to dethrone that. I just don't. Dinosaurs that shot lasers out of their eyes. It was crazy. It was beautiful, man. If you haven't played Blood Dragon, check it out. Even if you can't play it, just check it out. Just look into it. You know what I mean? Get your history on this game. It inspired me to make an actual EP. Like, I actually, from the music that was on the soundtrack, I was like, another one of my side hobbies is just cooking up music, like making music. Just all kinds of genres of, music, hip hop, whatever the fuck. EDM or whatever, just making beats. I just would turn on my computer, turn on FL Studio, and just get to work and do my thing. And, that inspired me to do, some music of a genre that I've never done before. I was like, yo, this is synthwave. And, I kind of want to do some synthwave stuff. Never done it before, never did it before. And I kicked out like 5 or 6 songs. I think I put like four out of those songs on EP and called it the Midnight Road Trip EP and put it out there. You guys can actually check that out if you are feeling inquisitive. It's available everywhere, iTunes, whatever. Just look up Midnight Road Trip, Studio Maguyvers. Okay, and it's out there. Some music that I did, and basically it was done because of Blood Dragon, man. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. A lot of you guys who listened to me like way back in the day know this, but a lot of you guys don't. And I just thought I'd share that with you because video games. That's the thing. There's so many of them that contribute to certain things in our lives, and a lot of these people don't realize how big of an impact some of these games have on us, man. Whether it be the music, whether it be the characters, whether it be whatever, man. You know what I mean? So I had to share that, and that's just Far Cry 3 will always have a special place in my fucking heart because of that. Anyway, enjoying myself with Far Cry 5, guys. That's what I'm doing. That's what I've been playing. Also playing a little bit of Borderlands with the homie Dig. Shout out to Dig 24/7, my boy in Atlanta. We've been jumping on that. I'm having a blast. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I was playing Shadow of War for a minute, but then I don't know what told me to play Far Cry. I don't know how I got on Far Cry. I don't even know. That it is what it is. I'll be playing New Dawn soon. That's probably the next game I'm going to buy. No doubt, to be honest with you guys. But we'll see. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Nintendo, man. Tetris 99. Tetris 99 is doing some nice things right now. Tetris 99 is actually, they've got some tournament-esque type things going on now where you actually get in the tournament. I think it's like 999 people. And they pick the best ones. I think they do the best ones out of 100, and they kind of set those brackets up. And of course, you have to have the online subscription. And they slick. They think they're slick. Oh yeah, get our online subscription because you can't play it unless you have that subscription. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm not doing that because they are not. They're not doing it quite enough. They're getting there, but that Tetris 99 doesn't constitute me paying for an online subscription right now. It doesn't. But we'll see what else they come up with. They keep coming out with Nintendo games here and there, but like I said, the NES games aren't going to do it for me. You have to come with something a little bit better. I did get word of a game that gave me hope for the Nintendo Switch, and it gave me hope because it's called Turok. If you guys don't know about Turok, it's a classic open world first person game that came out on a Nintendo 64 about hunting dinosaurs and whatnot. And it's the first Nintendo 64 title that I've heard of coming to the Switch. And that's good news because if we get one game from Nintendo 64, that should open the floodgates to other Nintendo 64 games coming to the Switch. The only question now is what and when. Will we be getting a Turok 2? Probably. It's looking quite promising because right now Turok is going to be slated for what? Let's see. It's going to be $20 and it's going to be coming out on the 18th. So it'll be available on the 18th for $20, man. So I'm interested. I think I might end up picking that up. I'm gonna see though. I'm gonna see what else they have up their sleeves. But hopefully, man, that'll open up the gates. Maybe we can get some Mario 64. Maybe we can get some 007. A lot of these games, is up in the air for the simple fact that there's licensing to be, I guess, ran through, publishing and all these type of things. So depending on, what the legalities of everything is, I mean, it's going to dictate, what other games of old gets to come back, which kind of broke my heart because I know game like, No Mercy or WCW NW Revenge is probably not going to be coming to the Switch because of that right there. You got a whole bunch of wrestlers, and trademarks and all this, and you got to go find them again and all. It's crazy trying to resell a game. So I can see that being a PR nightmare trying to release a game like that, which is crazy because that's some of the games that I adored the Nintendo 64 for. The wrestling games were the shit, like No Mercy and the WrestleMania 2000 and the, NWO, WCW Revenge. That was the shit. Those were the games I spent a lot of time on, man, and why I love the Nintendo 64. I would probably lose my shit if they re-released those games. I've not lied to you. And maybe if they re-released them and added like a couple things here and there, like if they took the Nintendo, if they took the Revenge, the WCW NWO Revenge game, took the roster, but updated, the fighting engine. In other words, put a No Mercy engine on that bitch. Do you know how fucking awesome that game would fucking be? Because in my opinion, that game had the best roster in any motherfucking wrestling game. Any wrestling game, bro. Even today. And I don't watch wrestling. I haven't watched wrestling in years. But in the heyday of the NWO and the Attitude Era, I don't think anything will ever come as close to the roster that game had. I mean, they had Bret Hart, they had Mr. Perfect, they had, there's so many dope characters, man, in that game. But yeah, hopefully we get some other things though, some other games that, from Nintendo 64 that I would love to see on there. And we probably will. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. We'll find out. But it's a good thing that we're getting those now. We're getting 64 games added. And that's a good thing. So just keep those coming. And then, who knows? Let's get into maybe we can get into some GameCube, maybe even some Wii, remakes or, I would like to see something like that. I would love to see, Mad World on this, on the Switch. Love it. I would fucking love it. Please, give us Mad World. Please. I love that game. Platinum Games, another Platinum Games title. Please. We need that. Thought I'd lay that there on the table. But yeah, man, that's what that is. And good things coming, man, from Nintendo. Last but not least, I want to basically talk about the streaming services, man. You got the creme de la creme, which is supposedly Netflix, and then, Hulu right behind them. I guess now I know when I'll be canceling my Netflix, and that'll be sometime in April, early April. And I say that because of this. One Punch Man has been announced on Hulu, April the 9th. So we'll be debuting on Hulu, April 9th. That's crazy. It's so ironic that, you can actually watch season 1 on Netflix if you still can. Last time I checked, you could. But now season 2, which has been long awaited, I think years in the making now, at least 2 to 3 years now. And we're finally going to get it on Hulu, April 9th. So yeah, man, I think that'll be time because then that'll be time for me to jump back in my anime and really get back into it. Start a bunch of them that I, stopped watching because of whatever reason and because of the, I guess the dub issue. You start a series and part of it's dubbed and then you get to the part that it's not and it just doesn't feel right. I'm kind of like I would like to start it and finish it on the same level. Like, if it's going to start dubbed, I like to finish it dubbed. You know what I mean? I've had to watch Naruto, a different way. But that was fine because Naruto was just awesome. But, I'm not looking forward to doing that again, especially for the shorter series. If you're have a series that is 2 to 3 seasons, I mean, I prefer to watch them all dubbed. Like Attack on Titan, I started that way back before it was even a thing, and all they had was subbed. But supposedly they only have the first 2 seasons that are English dub, and the third one is still not fucking dubbed yet for whatever reason. So I don't even want to touch that until I get that last season. Supposedly that's the last season I get that dubbed. Same thing for a lot of these other ones. My Hero Academia, I started that, and then when I started the first 2 seasons, that was fucking dubbed. I mean subbed. So I want to start that back over again and watch it subbed. I know Naruto is not 100% complete with their dub yet. They're still working on the last couple of chapters, I think, of their English dub. So by the time I finish Naruto for the second run through, they should be done, and I should be able to get the dub and catch the dub on Hulu. So, those are the reasons I'll be switching to Hulu. Also, Promised Neverland is another one that everybody's been talking about that I want to take a look at. But definitely One Punch Man is one that definitely took me by surprise when I first saw it. I thought it was interesting, interesting story at first. It was kind of like, I thought it was comical. This whole premise, the whole thing about how it was One Punch and all of that. And then when they announced it was coming, to actual anime, I was like, well, how are they going to write this for a guy who, just kills everybody with one punch? Man, was not disappointed. Enjoyed that series a lot. And now, like the way they had it ended it, I mean, you're already asking yourself, well, I was at least, where are we going to get to? A lot of us were, and we're screaming for the next season, and now we're finally getting it. I hope that, some of these other companies can follow suit, the Berserk. Let's check that out. Let's see what's going on with that. Supposedly, they wanted to come to Netflix and stuff, and hopefully that happens, and we can jump back on that pony and get that done, because that is a great series as well. It needs to be, it deserves an anime. It deserves a fleshed out anime, all the way. So I'll leave it at that. Anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much do it for the podcast. I kind of sound a little bit down. And that's only because, like I said, man, I'm like 75% with the stomach bug or whatever the fuck it is. I'm just trying to, be as professional as I can on this podcast and just get better. And hopefully, by the next podcast, I will completely be out of the woods and everything will be copacetic. I do definitely want to thank everybody for coming and listening to this podcast. All newcomers, I want to welcome you to the podcast, and I'll advise you guys to please tune in every Monday. Usually every Monday is every Monday. You'll get a podcast from me, but there are times that you will not for whatever reason. And if you follow me on Twitter, you will definitely know when those times are. Those of you who do follow me, you probably already knew there weren't going to be episodes, so you weren't really tripping. But for the ones who were expecting an episode, just follow me on Twitter and you can get the ins and outs of, changes or anything upcoming, concerning your boy, Studio Maguyver. So that's that. Also want to tell you guys that, Beautiful Nerds, the website is going to be back up next week. So be looking out for that. I will definitely give you guys a shout. If you follow me on Twitter, or Instagram, you can check me out on Instagram at Studio Maguyver79. Twitter is Studio Maguyver. And just, check up with your boy, man. And I'll be definitely giving some info on that. New products, new things in the works coming to the website. So definitely check out Beautiful Nerds. That's www.beautifulnerds.com, baby. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys, man. This is Studio Maguyver. You have been listening to Studio Maguyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.